Hi. So, when we hear the word success, many of us usually think of success is all about money, it's all about being perfect, having perfect family, or even making sure that we'll figure it out. But as a single parent, success can be something different. Hey, our viewers, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Today, we are doing another fantastic show, and we will be talking about redefining success as single parents. For anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Peggy Barre. I am a survivor empowerment coach, founder of Arise and Thrive Academy, where we inspire, empower, and support survivors of domestic abuse to rebuild their life and become resilient parents. I will be passing you over to Nelly so that Nelly can introduce herself, and then to our honorable guest today, Atem Arabella. So Nelly, over to you.
Hello, everyone. A crackly voice. Welcome to another session. I am Nelly Kwasungwe, a social worker, transformational life coach, and co-director for Hand in Hand Community CIC. We are so pleased to have you here today. Over to our guest, Abby.
Hello, everyone. I am Atem Arabella. I am an educator, presently at Higher Teachers Training College in Boya. I also work with children with learning disabilities, where we try to empower them with different skills and try to create awareness in our communities on how to handle these kids. Thank you. Over to you.
Great. And for anybody who doesn't know, Abby is my younger sister. In fact, she's my direct follower. So, yeah. So, Abby, we're so pleased to have you here today. It's always good to have three of us today. Nelly, yeah, we are excited.
Yeah.
And this is what we always want. We want more people to join us, at the back, so that we can have a chat. So, yes, today we're talking about a very interesting topic. And as a parent myself, sometimes it can be easy to fall into that temptation to say, oh, I'm not successful enough. Oh, I've not achieved this. Oh, this person is achieving that. What is success? What is success? So we are going to be talking about all of this today. Is success really measured by financial status? Is it marital status? Is it career milestone? Is it social comparison? What is success? So Nelly, let me pass that to you. What is success, Nelly?
I would say, what is success not about? Sometimes I can be very, very controversial. So, success is very individual. People define success in many different ways. Like Peggy has said, some will define success by how much they have in their bank account. Some will measure it by how many people they know, just so many things. Some even how many children they have, whether they are taking care of the children or not. Just many different measurements. So success depends on the individual. But the misconception that we have been having or in the world is people measure success to wealth. And these are two separate things. Wealth cannot be a measure of success in the sense that growing up, like for myself, I thought that wealthy people were successful. But then I have realized that wealthy people, not all are successful because some of the wealthy people live in misery. So to me, that's not a measure of success. It's just they are having more wealth than others. But overall success, they are not, because what is the point just having a lump sum of money in your bank, but then you can't even have a good night's sleep, you can't have peace of mind. So to me, that's how I will define success. If I can, in one night, asleep peacefully, to me, that's how I'll say success is. But to everyone, it's different.
Absolutely. Abby, any thought on that?
Yeah, just to join Nelly, as she was saying, success means different things to different people. People have different social indicators when it comes to defining what success actually is. So maybe So one person is to see that your children aren't wayward, even if you don't have the money. They are
Yeah.
respectful. They can go to school. They can eat. Even if it's just one square meal a day. To others, success might mean having 10 million, 20 million into their account, having a piece of land entitled to their name. So
Mm-hmm.
it just means different things to people. So other success means getting married, being in marriage, even if you're being beaten and that, just the fact that you're married and you can have a ring on your hand to them is success. So success just means different things to different people at different time.
Absolutely. That is so true. And I really concur. You know, we live in a society where there is a trajectory, there is an expectation. I, for one, I had that expectation. Yes, we are born, our parents raise us up, we go to school, we will get a job, we will get married, in fact, married to a rich man that is going to take care of all our needs. And then we're going to have children. And then maybe you're going to have a successful career. Well, not a successful career, a career or a job that can pay you, your bills and all of that. And then you get to a point where you are looking, okay, this is success. But then, just like Abby said, maybe because everybody is married, getting married, you want to get married. It don't you may be sad and miserable in that marriage to
Mm,
you because of everyone is doing it, societal expectation. I need to stay in there. Okay, you've had children. Maybe how many children? I don't know, one, two, three, four, or five, six, or even 10 children. But then just the fact that you feel like I am a mom or I am a dad, you feel that, okay, I'm successful. But then the real success is that what is the impact that you're giving to those children? So it's just, I always say that the way your children are will actually determines how successful you are. I don't know, Nelly, come in with your, if you're, if I'm trying to say something, that if somebody look at my child, the way my child talks, the way my child thinks, the way my child feels, the way my child appears, that whichever way may determine whether I've been successful as a parent or not. Does that make sense, Nelly? Come on, jump on and support me on that.
Just listening to what you are talking about, you are externalizing it, but I think success needs to be internal, because
Yeah,
the aspect that you were externalizing it is that desire to seek validation, and
yeah,
you fear rejection. But if you come back to yourself,
mm,
that how do you feel when you see your child? That is a praise you need to give yourself, because sometimes you might see your child and you just sit there admiring your child, just the way they are walking, the way they are talking, the way they give you a hug and things like that. That's success. It doesn't
mm.
have to be some other person who is acknowledging that your child is this or that. So come back to yourself. So
Oh,
when
but
Abby was
come back to
talking,
yourself.
when Abby was talking, something came to mind. Abby, you talked about getting married and staying in the relationship, in the marriage, whether you are desperate or not, but just the fact that you have a ring on your finger. I think
Mm,
looking at the misery in the world today, I really wonder how people measure success in the line
mm,
of marriage or getting into relationships, because, like now, it is a massive industry where I see people being manipulated. You have programs that they are dating matching sites and things like that, and some you have like Big Brother. They are dealing with people's emotions. Why
yeah.
are people so desperate to go out there, meet someone for the first time, and you think on an app, or not on an app, on
I mean,
meeting, say like Big Brother, and you think that, how on earth does that work? That is just pure manipulation. And to me, it shows the level of desperation that
Mhm.
people want to just get in a marriage. For them, whether it's for status, I don't know, but probably for status, or again, the expectation from their parents Again, how will such people define success? Because you can't just get married and then you are desperate in that marriage because a lot of things will come up. Is it your health? Is it the children? Is it your relationship? Is it your career? Anything can come up. So people define success in many different ways, but I feel that it needs to be coming from you personally, how satisfied you are. Don't be
Yeah.
seeking validation, because success is a road where once you take it and you take the right path, you will come through lots and lots of rejections,
Yeah.
because like our family members, they have grown up, like you said, Peggy, go to school, complete, get married to a rich man, have children, and things like that. But life doesn't work that way. So if
Mm.
you are struggling, say if you determine that your success is dependent on how your community defines it, and you get to a stage where you feel that nah, that is not working for me, but then you want to please your community or those in your community, then you will
Mm.
stay in such situations. Because again, the aspect of rejection is that if you want to take a different action to change your situation, it will go against those of your community, because probably they have never taken that action and they will
Yeah.
already see that, oh, you want to show that you are different and things like that. And if you take it and fail, without failure, we will not have learning points. So
Yeah.
if you are taking that step of changing your situation and you fail, it's okay. That's
Yeah.
why we need to be changing the narration of failure and as well as success. Because if you fail, look at it. What did you not do well? Or what could you have improved or done differently? So then you get a different result.
Absolutely. If you look at the top most successful people today in terms of the definition, define success, whichever we said that success is subjective. But if you look at the most successful people today, Nelly, if you look at their life, look at their life story, where they're coming from, they have got a story of failure. They have got a story of pain. They have got a story. In fact, that pain has actually made them who they are today. They are successful because of what they went through. Now, we are talking here about single parents, and we are talking about redefining success. The reason why we're focusing on single parent, because any parent can redefine their success. It doesn't matter only single parents. But the pressure, I think the pressure more is on single parents, because the family is putting pressure on the single parent, society is putting pressure on the single parent, the social system is putting pressure on the single parent, the school pressure on the single parent. So the parent is more like running every day like a headless chicken, trying to make sure that they meet the demands that this whole society is throwing on them, and ensuring that they as parents can be successful. You I work a lot with most of them, and you hear they will say statement that, Peggy, I feel like a failure. I feel like I'm a rubbish parent. I feel like, and that voice, that sentiment that they're expressing has been amplified by others in the society. It may even have been amplified by the other half, or the other, whether it's the father or the mother of those children, right? And it's making them look like they are a failure. They cannot raise their kids alone. So this is why it's very important that we redefine success. And we have agreed, we all three of we've agreed that success is subjective. But success may not be money. It may not be that nice house. It may not be that nice car. It may not be you providing everything that your child asks from you, right? Success may just be the fact that you're showing up for your children every day. It may just be that your children come home and they come home to a prepared meal. You've prepared them a meal. It's just a hug that your child comes home and you just give that child a hug, right? It can mean just creating well, that's my definition of success. Everyone is going to say their own. Success for me just mean having a clean house, That my kids, they come home, the environment is clean. So those are those little things. What about even teaching them values? Teaching them values. I don't know, maybe Abby, you want to jump on that again? We're expanding on, we are on redefining success now. If you want to jump on, and then we'll go to Nelly.
Yeah. Before I come to the values, the world today we're talking about the attention economy,
Mm,
where people are seeking attention, and they forget to understand that when you are alone, you actually go through what you are going through without
mm,
the people out on social media seeing what you're going through.
mhm,
So, for a single parent, as we're talking about values, to me, the values I inculcate into my children or in my children mean so much to me. For
mm,
example, it's annoying when you're trying to raise kids, you're struggling as a single mother, or the kids are not well. At the end of the day, you don't know who your kids are.
mm,
They can't open up to you each time they want to say something. I don't know, maybe because of fear, because this attention economy will have also put that pressure that goes down to the, and we want our kids to become who they are not. So
mhm,
it becomes in such a way that these values, that it's difficult to inculcate these values in the. I'll just take for example lifestyling.
mm,
Imagine a mom, you're struggling with these children, but there is no single day a child will do something and own up to you and say, I'm the one who did it. There is no
mm,
value. At the end of the day, you will do whatsoever, you will run
mm,
behind an economy. At the end of the day, you don't know yourself, you can't know, you don't know your kids. So to
mm.
me, value is very important. What is that value?
Yeah.
Christian value that we want to inculcate in our kids. Because if they have the value, whether you are there or not, they will succeed.
Mm,
If my child knows that I'm coming from a background, a home where we are struggling, the child will not want to measure up with other kids in school who are rich, who want to eat, spend 500 francs a day, knowing that your mom cannot afford 500 francs a day. So, as a single parent, the first thing we have to look at is the value that we want to, that governance, it all has to do with the governance of the home, how we
mm,
want to go our children, the values we want to inculcate in our children. To me, is the most important. Money or no money, without those values, you won't be able to realize who your kids are, even as they grow up.
great. Nelly, want to
Yeah,
jump on that?
thank you for that, Abby. When you were talking, there were certain things that I picked up. Like, yes, as single parents, whether you are the single parent mom or the single parent dad, you
Mm-hmm,
must have gone through some difficulties to get to that situation because no one will just decide to be a single parent.
mm-hmm,
Now, the way single parents are being labeled is really damaging because it doesn't only end with the single parent, it is extended to the children as well. Now, looking at values, a lot of the times we inherit values from our parents, from our community.
mm-hmm,
Later on in life, we start having inner conflict because those values, some of them don't sit well with us.
mm-hmm,
But then, because those are values that we knew from a very young age, we feel that we must continue with those values. But now, how do we shift or identify the values that are ours, the
mm,
beliefs that are ours, so that we can shift? Because, like that, it will reduce the internal conflicts that we have. And the main reason is because we start having those internal conflicts because whatever we are doing does not align with our purpose. So that's when
mm,
those inner conflicts start coming up. So then redefining what success is as a single mom is within your household. Just going back to what Abby talked about, lies telling, there is a reason why children lie, and it's based on fear. So then, as a parent, if you identify that your child tells lies and you are a single parent, you are struggling, what can you do? Start by
Mm.
taking a step back, and this is something we talk about in every session. Take a step back and start to work on yourself, because when
Yes.
you are able to manage your emotions, then you will be in a better place to be emotionally present to support your children. Because, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, if you as a parent, you are overworking yourself and a child does something and tells lies, instead of you instead of you talking to the child to find out why they are telling lies, you would come already, you are irritated. You might shout at the child, you might beat up the child, you might react instead of responding. And then the child will learn that, yes, they'll be telling the lies, because what you can do is probably beat them up. And that's when the physical chastisement doesn't work, because it's just temporary and the child becomes used to. So, again, another aspect is for parents to have open and honest conversations with their
Mm-hmm.
children. That aspect of comparison, that is coming from a place of scarcity, where parents, I mean, children will emulate parents, because if parents start with comparing with others, children will easily pick up on that. But then
Yeah.
if a child knows that the parent can afford, the child might know that through the conversations that the parent has with the child. So they will know that they can't have that. But again, just thinking of what kind of mindset are we helping the children to develop? So
Mm-hmm.
again, even if we don't have, or even if a parent don't have, is to know how to pass on that message in an age appropriate way to the child. Because sometimes parents will just say, no, 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 I can't afford that. Never you go there, and things like that. The child will not understand. But then if you sit down with that child and explain to the child that, yes, I know you like this, da, 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 but at the moment, I can't afford it. But
Mm.
when I have, I will buy it for you. Those are two different ways that you pass the same information to a child, and the child will understand the two different ways in differently. So it's for parents, we need to be very patient, focus on ourselves first, so we start knowing how to manage our emotions, so we can respond rather than react to our
Yeah.
children, and then instill the values. What values are ours? What values are not ours? And
Mm-hmm.
which of these values are those that will promote us, will are those that will make us be a better person? Like I know Abby talked about religious values. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
we know growing up, a lot of us grew up around religious values. But then looking at the world now, there are lots of negativities coming up from religious, whether they are groups or cults or sects, I don't know. So is where do you belong? But then
Mm.
you need to find out what sits well with you, because if one person, or if one religion, or if a group of people are practicing in a negative way that is coming out to the world now, it doesn't mean that all of it is bad. So it's for you to be picking and choosing which ones will help you grow to the person you are meant to be, and let go
Mm.
of the others. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's so true, Nelly. And when you were talking about the values, first of all, one thing was just, just dropped in my mind that, again, it is very important that, yes, the values that we are who we are today, maybe because of the values that we copied from our parents, whether good or bad. And sometimes we get to a point in our life where we need to pick and choose which of the values we want to carry on in our own life and maybe pass down that value to our own children. But it's very interesting that sometimes if we don't have that mental capacity, or if we don't have that intentionality to really sit down and really refine the value, really look into the values that we've carried from our parents and ask ourselves that, hang on, is this value working for me or not? Until we find that time to really assess the values that we've carried from our own parents, we may just be tempted to continue carrying those values with us, whether good or bad, and then inculcating that value now passed down to our own children. And then we're just like, you know what, that's fine. That's how my parents used to do. In fact, my great grandparents used to be like that. My parents did like that. So we make it a norm. We normalize that value even when we know it's not working for us. Let's take, for example, some people, I'm not saying that it's okay for people to smoke. Yeah. Again, it's preferences, right? Some people may carry that value down, that habit has been passed down generation, and it's normal. It's okay. But then it's up to somebody now to say, hang on, but this thing that has been passed down generation, is it really working for me? Is it really helping me? Is it good for my health or not? Right. And one thing that when you were talking, again, caught my attention, Nelly, is the fact that, again, when we're talking about values, yes, we need to pick and choose what kind of the values that we want to take with us. And we need to be emotionally, did I say emotionally mature? No, is that what emotionally mature? Emotionally, we need to be able to control, manage our emotion effectively. Because if we carry certain values, because success is all about, success will begin from the way you react. For me, I would say success will begin from the way I manage my emotion. Because emotion, like you always tell us, Nelly, is about, emotion is everything, right? I'll take, for example, today, my son, he called me. I was trying to set up for this show, and he rang me. And he said, Mom, my boss took me to a different area. I fell asleep on the bus, and my boss took me to a different area. And now, can you come and get me? Can you just come and get me? And I was like, I've just come back from work. I haven't even had anything to drink. I'm trying to set up for this show, and now you're ringing me to come and pick. Do you know, talking about managing emotion, I can put my hands up and say sometimes we're human, and sometimes our emotion will get a toll of us if we don't put, like, instead of me empathizing, well, I don't know if that's the right thing, I had to have empathize and sympathize with the fact that, one, he fell asleep, he missed his, but the boss took him somewhere. The first thing I was like, in fact, I'll really just repeat what I said. What are you saying? Why were you sleeping? That was the first reaction. But then when I managed to book him a taxi and say, okay, take a taxi to come home, do you know, something just dropped in my spirit, and something just said, you know what, Peggy, that wasn't the right way you would have responded to him. He called you, he was in distress. At least you would have empathized, say, oh, I'm sorry, or maybe something to just validate his feeling at that moment. But then I just immediately wore that my mommy had to just start, chastising him. Why did he have to, So when he walked in, I called him. And then that is where I showed my empathy. And I just empathized with him and said, and all of that. So why am I saying this, Nelly? That action I can define that as simple success as a parent. That is success in itself, no matter how small it is. The fact that I have been able to listen to that child and validate that child's emotion and make that child feel like I care, and make that child feel like I am listening, or I have listened to whatever thing he has been through. That in itself is success. So this is why I was just saying that, because as single parents, rather than us looking at the outer shiny things out there, success is just, for me, success is in here. And I would say I am still a work in progress. I'm still a work in progress, and it's okay for any mom or any dad or any parents to say, you know what, they're still learning in that journey to become successful parents. So I don't know whether who, yeah,
I
Abi
just
or Nelly, yeah.
if I just want to add to what you were talking about, the example with your son, actually too. So going back to the example you've given about your son,
Mm-hmm.
we can say, okay, the first part of your reaction was a failure. But the good
Mm,
thing is you reflected on your
yes,
reaction, and that was a learning point for you. That is
yeah.
why when after booking the taxi, you knew that you had to make up. And
Mm-hmm.
then when your son got home, that's when you started exploring and you empathize with him. So
Yeah.
that's a massive success. It's a massive success. And then the other one, you talked about smoking, that smoking could be inherited from generation to the next. So something like smoking is that pleasure seeking.
Mm,
So when people want to, I mean, people like pleasure because they don't want distress. So then it is a coping strategy,
yeah.
and they learn by observing others. But it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that every child who grows up in an environment that have smokers, the child will end up being a smoker. It's just that they know about it, and because they've observed that, they are highly likely to do that, but it's not a guarantee that they will do that. However, why I'm bringing that is those are coping strategies, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, something like smoking or alcohol excessively is not a healthy coping strategy because it might significantly impact someone's life and that they face daily challenges. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the 2 points I wanted to talk about.
Okay. Abi, if you got anything to jump in, I can see your, yeah. Yeah. You can unmute.
My mic, I cannot get what you're saying.
Oh,
Oh, okay. You can't get what we're saying. Okay. All
Technology.
right. Okay. No,
but we
that's
can
fine.
hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you clearly. I don't know what. Okay. Anyway, we'll sort that out later.
Okay.
Okay. So another thing that we wanted to talk about success, because we are just redefining success as single parents, and I will say everybody, every parent has got their definition of success. Success again might just be being able to take care of yourself as a parent, being able to take care of your mental, your emotional well-being, right? Because like we say, we have been through a lot. Whether you're a single mom or you're a single dad, you've been through a lot. If you want to look at that journey from where you're coming from, it's a long journey. And you don't need a magician to come and tell you that, you know what, that journey in itself can actually, it's actually taking a toll on you. And then now you're sat there, instead of looking at, many people will go down a negative lane because they're not being able, or they cannot be able to muster the courage to take care of their mental well-being or to take care of themselves. But you, that you've been able to even muster that courage to say, you know what, I'm going to look after myself. I'm just going to have 1 minute a day just to have a cup of tea. I'm going to have some time for myself just to have a nice bubble bath. I'm just going to have it some time for myself, maybe just to watch something or read a book or watch anything for me. That in itself is success. Because you know what? When you do that, you're just helping yourself, giving yourself tools and strategies and make coping mechanism, healthy coping mechanism, so that you can be able to function well with your children. Because what I believe is that when we grow in ourselves, when we develop ourselves, like grow in our own, take care of our own health and well-being, in a way, we are actually passing that on to our children. We are enabling ourselves with the capabilities to take care of our children, right? Which is success. So I don't know, Nelly, whether I want to add something on that.
Yeah, I strongly support that your last point. that when we take care of ourselves, it's a massive success. And like I always share my story, because there was a point in my life where I went downhill, where I could not discipline my children. And whenever I wanted to talk to my children, especially when they did something wrong and I wanted to correct them, as I opened my mouth to speak, I'll just start crying, just to show how low I was. But then I realized that as a mother, that is not good, because I had never observed my parents, whether my mom or my dad, be like that. So I started thinking, I said, no, if I continue that, I would be a failure to my children, or I would be putting my children in a difficult situation where they will not be able to manage their daily life. And that was when I started. I said, yeah, I need to start taking care of myself. And there's this notion that self-care is being selfish. Well, it isn't, because you can't give what you don't have. But unfortunately, that is what we see in our society today. Because you see, people are struggling, and they use work, for example, as a coping strategy, because they'll pick shift upon shift upon shift, probably because they are avoiding to go meet the people they stay with in their houses because of whatever is going on there. But then they go to work and they are very, very nice out there, but that is because they are running away from the danger. So then, is that something you want to continue living that kind of a life? Because that's when we say you are living a double life, because outside you are different. In your house, you show a different persona. So that, yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, and then what again? We talked about success. Success. Well, we talked about being sharing some values, and when we talk about values, values are more again like either the kindness. We talk about being resilient and taking responsibility. One thing that most parents especially will kind of maybe criticize themselves and say, oh no, maybe I'm not doing well. Maybe you may not be doing well in another area, but your child, you've taught your child how to take responsibility for themselves. You've taught your child how to respond to people. You've taught your child basic ways of how to take care of themselves. That in itself is success. You know, what about you knowing that, okay, your child can just do basic chores at home? That's success. Your child has empathy. If you're feeling down, or you're feeling, your child knows when you're not feeling well. Your child knows when you're happy. Your child knows. Your child can actually respond to emotions and respond to that. Is itself a success, because you know how many children just live like they don't even know, they don't have any emotional intelligence, or even us. What am I even talking about, child? Even us, the parents. How many parents don't even know? We don't even have emotional intelligence, where maybe your child is down, you don't even know how to actually communicate or can actually empathize with that child. So if you are a parent that you actually understand your children, you can relate with your children, you can support your children. Your children know how to actually empathize and help. That is huge success as a parent.
Mhm.
And we are talking about, I don't know whether before I go to another point, Nelly, you want to talk a little bit on that?
No, we can go to the next point.
Yeah, and then
Just
one
looking
thing
at the
again that I
time.
just wanted to talk about success is because Nelly had already mentioned about it, which is about growing, healing, and learning along the way. Failure in itself is not failure. Failure is a springboard. You can only say you can only fail in something, in something, in something, if you've not learned from that thing. But so long as you've learned from that thing and then use that thing to change the situation, then that is great. So we, again, as parents, we are learning. And it's not about criticizing yourself. Anything that you don't know, like for me, I always say every day that someday I'm human, I'm going to make mistake, but it's about what is it that I've learned from that mistake and how can I make it better For me, that is success. I don't need a millions in a bank, in my bank account, to say I'm successful. So again, that takes us to the next point, which is talking about learning to celebrate progress, not perfection. Nelly, do you want to jump on that? Celebrating
Yeah.
progress, not perfection.
So small things. We are fond of putting as single parents because we have heard a lot of negativity. We
Mm,
downplay the little wins. We need
yes.
to start changing that. Every win, put them together, you realize that in a month, if you accumulate those little wins, they'll be massive.
Hmm.
And like for me, what I say is pat yourself on the back because
Yeah.
you put in an effort. I remember I was working with one family and the mom did something, and to me I saw that she put in a lot of effort, and I was like, come on, we need to celebrate. And she was like, what are we celebrating? And I was like, oh, you just told me something that you did and you think I'll let go. We need to celebrate. And she was really really surprised. She said,
Hmm.
oh, but that's nothing, it's just small. I said, did someone come do that for you? I said, is it not your effort? Or if you slept on your bed, would that have been accomplished? And she said, no. I said, come on then. You thought about it. You put in the action. So that
Mm,
calls for celebration. And she was like, oh, I didn't know. I said, even if you get up in the morning and make a cup of tea, that is success because there are lots of people who are
mm,
unable to get out of their bed. It's similar to being grateful. So you
yeah.
need to be acknowledging whatever win, celebrate those wins. You are the one who is downplaying on those achievements, but you are the one who has also put in effort. So no matter
Yeah.
how small it is, you need to celebrate any success. Stop downplaying the successes that, oh, this one is small. Do you want to be a president before you celebrate, which is highly likely you will never? Because just saying, I'm not everyone will not. Just saying that the possibilities are very slim. So then be celebrating the small ones that you have on a daily basis instead of looking for the shiny, shiny gold there that you might never have in your lifetime.
Absolutely. And again, talking about celebrating yourself, again, it's about finding the time and recognizing to celebrate the wins that your children make as well. Those pretty moments, those little moments that they come home, they might come home with a certificate, they might come home with a little, or maybe you might get an email from the school to say, oh, your child was so, you behaved today in class. Those little things that are said or done about your children or by your children. Success is also recognizing those things and celebrating them, because in that way you are actually appreciating your kids for doing what they've done and teaching them that, you know what, it is okay to celebrate your micro win. You must not go and win a golden medal before you can be celebrated. So success is about celebrating yourself, just like Nelly say, patting yourself on the back. When you do something, when you achieve something, pat yourself on the back. Talk to yourself nicely. Success is about talking to yourself nicely. Yes, because sometimes we can be very, very critical of ourselves. Oh, I cannot do this. Oh, I cannot do that. I am not this. Look at what that person is doing. Look at what that person did that. Oh, da da da. No, it's about talking to yourself nicely. So that is success, because these are all skills that you are learning for yourself and for your children, to make sure that you become a better parent. Another thing
And
that we need to, yeah,
just to add there, that when we
yeah.
are celebrating success, it is, let's not focus on only on the results. The main
Mm,
focus is the effort. The
yes.
effort that whether ourselves or our children put into whatever task they are doing, let's focus on that, because without that effort, they won't get the result. They might still put in the effort, but don't get the results, they need to be
Mm.
appreciated as well.
Great. That is so true, Nelly. The effort is very important. And another important thing that just came on my head, Nelly, because we are as parents, as single parents, you're playing 100 role all in one. You
Mm,
are the one doing, you're working, you're cooking, you're this, you're raising your children, you're like just everywhere. Success is when you manage to have a balance
mm,
among all of these things that you're doing. You can be able to have a balance. And balance, I mean, you are working well. You might be doing well at work, making sure that at least you're delivering, you do what you have to do at work. Balance is making sure that you are there for your children. You make sure that at least you attend your children's appointments, school appointment, if you can make it. If you cannot make it, success can just still be as replying or texting your children's school or emailing them to say, sorry, I cannot make it, but I can I. So success is all about, so if you're having a balance, it's about having time with the kids. It's about having time with even external families, if it is needed. Balance is all about making sure you find time for your own self. So all of these things put together, success is when you find an effective balance all about around your life. That in itself a success. So yeah, Nelly, you want to say anything before that takes us to the point where we're talking about raising children while honoring our own well-being.
yeah, let's continue to that point. I'm just looking at the time. Let's not go
Yeah,
too much. We need to
yeah,
stick to our New Year's resolution.
yeah. So yeah, at least we've got some time. So you do want to talk on that point, raising children while honoring your own well-being?
Yeah, so we have talked about self-care.
Hmm.
Self-care, let it be a priority, because you cannot show love to your children if you don't
Hmm.
show love to yourself. So
Yeah.
that's why self-care is very important. There are many different aspects on how you can start self-care. It goes hand in hand with routines,
Hmm.
boundaries, especially boundaries. Many people, many adults that I've worked with, they
Hmm.
struggle with routines.
Yeah.
And like with our children, parents who don't start putting routines when children are younger, they find it really difficult to manage with the children, because they get to say teenagers and they start struggling with their parenting. And then probably they're getting parenting support and they start talking of putting boundaries or putting routines in place. Imagine you have your child for 14 years, 15 years, 16 years, or even 10 years, and
Hmm.
you've not put any routine in place, there's no boundaries in place. And then when they get to that age, you start saying, you need to do this, you don't need to do that. The children will retaliate and
Yeah.
the situation would escalate. Imagine you being a single parent and your child is not listening and they are putting on tantrum because you want to start putting routine in place. However, if at a very young age we start putting parents start putting routines in place, then as the children grow, it will become part of their ways of living. Another aspect of raising children while honoring yourself is give children tasks and responsibility that are
Hmm.
age appropriate.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, parents allocate children, like the older children, to be carers for the younger children. And again, they do chores at home as compulsory, and that way, children can link it to punishment instead of learning opportunities. So, yes, give children these responsibilities that is age
Hmm.
appropriate, and let it not be punishment. Sometimes sit with them, talk about it, do things together. So then the children do it in a fun, loving way, and they'll just do it. Okay, for instance, I know Peggy and myself, we talk about dishes like. So we know the children, we have taught our children to wash the dishes, but then the children will not wash the dishes the same instant that we want them to wash it. that doesn't cancel the fact that they cannot wash those dishes.
Mm-hmm.
For me, what I've done is I've taken some step back and I said, you know what, dishes, bye, be there. I had to be reminding myself that I am not washing those dishes for a reason.
Yeah.
And over time, the children washed it. And I keep talking to them. Those dishes, it's good to wash them because of bacteria build or bacteria will develop, and bacteria, they're so tiny we can't see with our eyes, and sometimes we can have like colds and things like that, which is coming from just saying. But I know that they, with all their studies now, they know a lot more than myself. But just to have that conversation with them, to
Yeah.
say it's good, because it's good practice. It's good to
Yeah.
start it from a young age, and as they grow older, it will just become part and parcel of them instead of starting it old. However, if you are that parent who hasn't had any routines and boundaries in place, it's not late. It's good you start wherever you are, but focus on yourself first, because if you have that emotional stamina, then you will not be reacting. You will always like calm yourself down, and then you tell the child what needs to happen rather than
Yeah.
you all the time, because then you yourself, you'll be anxious, you might become depressed, and that's what the children will observe and they will develop as well.
Yeah.
So share your growth with your children,
Mm-hmm.
because like children like storytelling. It's not that you carry your adult issues and just throw it on the children. No, because like when you are single, the children understand some of your struggles. If it's what the children know, sometimes children will come and ask. Sometimes children will be struggling, but then when they know that their parent is struggling, they will avoid bringing their own issues to their parent.
Mm-hmm.
If your child doesn't want to talk about their problems to you, it doesn't mean that you are a failure. It's
Hmm.
because the child know that you are going through and they are feeling for you. So what, as a parent, what you can do is talk with your child and identify another suitable adult who can have this conversation with your child.
Mm-hmm.
If the child has siblings, promote sibling unity, because sometimes the children will sort out their problems within themselves, and the
Mm-hmm.
parents, you might never know, or maybe you might hear about it when it's gone past. So that's just some ways that you can raise your children while honoring your own well-being, because when you give them like those responsibilities, they do things, but don't just dump all on them. And then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have like that fun atmosphere where you just do things and tell stories and things like that, because till this date, my children, they like storytelling. Sometimes I can't remember how many times I have told each of them how the process that I gave birth to them, because I don't know why, but they really, really like it. I have said it so many times to each of them. Imagine. But those are the things that make them. And to me, I see that a success, because just
Mm-hmm.
telling them about their birth, that's something they asked, is a bonding time for us. Because
Yeah.
they're very interested to know. Sometimes they say they want to know if they were a problem child at birth and things like that. But to me, it's a success because it's a time for us to bond.
That's so true. And when you were talking, one thing just jumped to me, it's about talking about honoring while raising our children while honoring our well-being. One thing that I just also want to remind any parent watching is that it is okay to ask for help. Having the ability to ask for help is also a success. and asking for help from the right people or from the right source. Because sometimes as parents, we feel like we are super mamas, we're super daddies, we can carry everything, we can just dragging the load and it's heavy. No. Being able to pause and say, you know what, hang on, I need help here. And actually taking the courage to go find somebody that can give you that help, that is success in itself. And we are talking, we've talked about all, the definition of the success. We've said success is personal to each person, but we need to understand that if your child feels loved, right? If you now watching us, you feel like, you know what, my children really feel loved, they feel safe, they feel supported, and you yourself as a parent, you are growing, and you are still growing, you are learning and growing, that is success. You can put your hand up and say, you know what, I am a success. Because you know what, growth is a journey. It's never ever gonna stop. Yes, pat yourself. It's a journey. Every day we want to grow. If you look at the social media today, there is something about everybody wants to know. Take your own path, and everybody has got their own path. Take your own path. So long as you're on your path, you can be as slow as a snail. Although, if so long as you are at least making progress, that is success, right? And don't let all the shining things and all of that bother you. You have got your path. The first thing I will say is, first of all, what is your path? Have you created a path for yourself? Just like Abby had mentioned, that governance system. Have you got a governance system as a single parent? What is it that you want to achieve for yourself and your children? What is it that success look for you? Okay. You first of all need to create that path. Once you create that path, it's like a roadmap. Once you create that roadmap, stick to that roadmap. If there are times that changes will be needed, make the changes and keep moving. It may be slow, it's okay, so long as you're making progress. And you'll be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself. Like Nelly said, celebrate yourself every day. Success is also about aligning or networking. We've got 1 minute. Networking with the right people. Like, again, find the support. It might be whether networking with like-minded moms and dad is okay. That is success. So I hope that you've learned something from it. We're trying to stick to our time. Nelly said we need to stick to our time. So Nelly, do you want anything, at least just a few seconds to round up, like, closing statement, and then we can call it there.
Yeah, thank you so much for this session. Thank you for watching. Thank you. We have, sorry, I don't have my glasses, I can't see, but we have someone who has said, great job, sisters. And I've just replied. So thank you so much. And regardless of where you are in your life, your journey, it is not too late. Start where you find yourself. We've talked about self-care. I know this month, Peggy is all about self-care. So focus on self-care. Certain issues will just resolve themselves. So self-care is very important. That will stretch to your children. And take good care of yourselves, take good care of your children, keep learning, have an open mind, and ask for help. It's a superpower to be able to ask for help. So there's help out there. Ask for it because you want to change your situation and change your situation to be the woman, the man you are meant to be. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for watching. And remember, you are successful. You are a successful dad. You are a successful woman. Go out there and keep being successful. So we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. You take care. We love you. Bye.
Bye.